Welcome back to another top-level game of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a best-of-3 series of Terran versus Protoss, played during the GSL Codes round of 8. Now this particular series, it is played to determine who moves on to the semi-finals of one of the most prestigious StarCraft 2 tournaments in the world. And I'm smiling here because that is the exact same introduction as I've done, well, and I think the last 2, maybe even 3 videos that I've uploaded to the YouTube channel. For some reason, this year, this particular season at the very least, the round of 8 matches have been an absolute banger. I don't know if it's due to the fact that, like, it's the new map pool, or maybe the new multiplayer balance patch, but for some reason, basically all of the games that I've casted so far, they have been very aggressive with some very curious build orders. And, well, I mean, I'm a big fan of standard StarCraft, but you can always sign me up for some interesting builds. I haven't seen these games yet, but from what I've heard, apparently we are in for something special. So spotted right here in the top left-hand corner of a map called Oceanborn, playing with the Red Terran SCVs. We have a man who I don't really get to feature very often on the YouTube channel, but we're looking at none other than Bunny's main command center. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. One of the most popular Protoss players in the world right now, actually. This man, at the very least, has been making a name for himself more so than in the past over the last year. We're looking at none other than Creator's main Nexus. So far, it looks like everything is normal. Yeah, we've got ourselves a Barracks finishing up, a Reaper coming up, Cybercore in the meantime on the other side of the map, and it looks like both players are planning on going for some expansions. I want to keep a close eye out right here on the build orders, because apparently we're going to see some weird stuff. I don't know if it's in this game or maybe later on in this series, but supposedly there will be some interesting strategies. Now, it really has been a little bit since I've last featured Bunny on the channel. So Bunny, as we're making this video right now, according to a Ligilek, he is currently the rank 18 in the world overall. So definitely one of the very best players out there. Certainly one of the highest ranked South Korean pro gamers. And yet, it feels to me like it's been months since I've last featured him on the channel. He doesn't really play in a lot of the smaller online cups. He really only signs up for the biggest events out there, which is interesting because, well, unlike the guys who also regularly have that same mindset, like for example Serral and for example Maru, maybe a little bit of Raynor as well, he also doesn't really play in that many online cups. Bunny doesn't win that many of those big premier tournaments. Generally speaking, the guys that are right around, I want to say like the top 25 or so, they tend to be the ones that play a ton of the online cups because, well, there's still some good money to be earned, right? There's thousands of euros up every single week for the smaller events that are being played all the time, and well, if you're somebody, right around that rank, you can probably win at least a couple every week and afford to pay the bills. So I'm not exactly sure why Bunny doesn't play in the smaller online cups. It would be nice to see him also compete a little bit more frequently, and it would be neat to see him, on the channel a bit more often, but sadly, pretty much none of the replay packs over the last couple of months have featured his name. Now, generally, he doesn't really play the spiciest games, so we'll have to see exactly what he decides to do. For now, it's going to be a 1-1-1 right here from our Terran player and a Stargate opener in the meantime on the other side of the map. Straight into Phoenixes right here from Creator. Okay. Creator, by the way, as of me making this video right now, currently the rank 17 in the world. So, 17 going up against the number 18. Okay. Could Creator be the Protoss hope? Well, that'll be a discussion for another time. Bunny. Is this a 2-base battlecruiser rush? Now that's an interesting one. I was gonna talk about Creator and the Cyclones and all that, but scratch all of that. We're going straight into a fusion core. There's a tech lab building right now on the starport, so I don't think this is gonna be for Liberator range. I am, well, like 99% sure that this is a battlecruiser rush right here from Bunny. What in the world? We don't generally see battlecruiser rushes just in general, right? It's just not that strong of a build, even against Zerg. Zerg players have gotten very good at countering battlecruisers, although we do see it mixed in from time to time. It's probably like maybe a B-tier strategy. You know, it's pretty strong, but definitely not the best option you can go for. There it is, though. A battlecruiser coming up right now against Protoss. Third Nexus here on the other side of the map. Where are those Phoenixes? Okay, we're using them for base defense. Creator right now thinking about Widowmine drops, maybe a cheeky little Raven that decides to skirt around the right side of the map, or maybe at the bottom, right? That's always an option. None of that is really the case. So, why do we not normally see battlecruiser openers against Protoss? Well, think about the build orders that are commonly played by Protoss players. Usually, it's either like a triple or even a quadruple gateway opener with Blink Stalkers. Well, Blink Stalkers, they can start working on those battlecruisers very easily, because you'll hit basically around the time that Blink is done as well, which is not ideal at all. And secondly, we have a lot of Stargate openers, right? Like, those are really the only two builds. Now, Phoenixes, don't get me wrong, they're not particularly great against battlecruisers, but you can always go into like a Void Ray or just some other stuff as well. Bunny right now, though, has a massive army to go along with this as well, and he's also sending a couple of SCVs along with this party. Where's the battlecruiser gonna go? Okay, straight into the main base. Creator, okay, very quick on pulling the probes, but he also has to be scratching his head a little bit. Phoenixes have to turn back home at this point. Only 3 workers have gone down. Immediately, a Void Ray starts up. What are those SCVs going to do here? I guess they're gonna just try to create a chokehold on this base. Yeah, we have the... we have the siege tank here in range of the Nexus, and we have the bunkers coming up right over here at the front. That first one is gonna have to get cancelled, but now with the Immortal Barrier already triggered, he is gonna have to back off. Second battlecruiser, by the way, is coming up. We also have the Yamato Cannon Research. There's the battery overcharge. Do we have enough right here, though, as Protoss to shut all of this down? The Marines are absolutely going to town. At this point, the Void Ray is out. With a Yamato Cannon, we might be able to shut it down. The problem is the Yamato Cannon is not done yet, and now with Prismatic Alignment, that Void Ray is going to be able to make quick work of that battlecruiser. Second BC, though, will be out very soon. If only the Yamato Cannon was already done at this point. Very nice reaction time right there from Creator, though. Immediately fires up the Void Ray. If he would have, well, gotten it Yamato'd, I think he would have been in a ton of trouble. Are we going to go for a full counterattack? Are we giving it up, or are we going to go for a surround? Yeah, so those bunkers at the front here are very scary. There's the reinforcing battlecruiser, number 2 showing up as well. Raven here coming up together with the interference matrix research. One siege tank, okay, tried to roll across the map, but I think that that one is indeed gonna get picked off. But that means also that the Nexus over here will go down. Yamato Cannon right now being used on a Colossus. There we go, dealing quite a bit of damage for some reason. I only just now learned that. Apparently, the battlecruiser shoots the Yamato Cannon at the feet of the Colossus. That's an interesting one. Battery overcharge once again. In the meantime, though, on the other side of the map, we have all of the Protoss units trying to march up that ramp. I was going to say that siege tank, it really needs to be taken care of. Okay, Immortal eventually does go down. Where did the battlecruiser go? I mean, eventually, these shield batteries will run out. It's a little bit funky over here, but we have a Phoenix trying to hug a battlecruiser to death. Very interesting strategy, but there's still enough energy, at least for the time being, although at this point they are all run out. 40 SCVs have gone down, by the way, on the other side of the map. We did have a third command center on the back of this. Another Void Ray is going to finish up here in just a second. All right, the main base and the natural hero of the Terran are basically dead, meaning that this is almost an all-in. Disruptor coming up right now. I'm not exactly sure how much I like that. Okay, we're gonna jump the BC back home with the Prismatic Alignment getting activated. A recall right here as well on whatever units he could fit in the bubble. So I guess that is one way to counter the battlecruiser. When it uses tactical jump, you can recall your Protoss units away from it as well. And ultimately, the crisis management right here from Creator, considering there's really no way he's seen this build before, because this is so weird, it's been amazing. He started up another base over here, he gave up this Nexus over there, he did lose a bunch of probes, but really not that many, and he decided to commit to the full-on counterattack. That was some brilliant decision making right there from Creator, because, I mean, this is one of those scenarios where I would have no idea what to do. Most players would probably try and engage into, like, that siege tank bunker wall right over there, but well, I don't think that would have worked out nearly as well as what Mr. Creator decided to do. Now, that is a super dead Phoenix. Fair enough, but is this a big enough army here to shut down all of these Protoss units? I mean, the thing is, while this is going on, right, while Bunny is chasing Protoss units towards his old main base, Protoss has got a nice economy at home. Now, mules are good. Oh, Void Ray's going to town. That's the second battlecruiser going down as well. I think that's it, yeah. Apparently, the economical advantage here that Creator had didn't even really matter. It's Creator who obtains the victory in game number 1 with some really solid decision making. It's interesting. With the GSL Code S, you know who you're going to be facing off against in advance. And it turns out, apparently, the strategy that Bunny has prepared against Creator is a 2-base battlecruiser cheese? Now, I think it would have worked against most weaker Protoss players out there. If there's just a moment of hesitation, or they decide to jump on those bunkers with the siege tanks over at the third base, I think Creator would have been in a lot of trouble, but I think that's an excellent example as to why it's so important to play lots of games when you're trying to get good at StarCraft. Not only does it help build up your macro mechanics, right, which is ultimately the core of the game and where you need to be really strong, but you also will see a wide variety of strategies, and Creator clearly had played against something like that many times before, because he did not hesitate whatsoever. Like, he gave up the third base, went for the fourth base, right, without his opponent really knowing, instantly started up the Void Ray. He must have realized that if he did it right away, there was a good chance that Yamato Cannon was not going to be done yet, but he was a little hesitant. He accidentally wandered with that Battlecruiser when it was in the bottom right-hand corner, within the Stalker range as well, which is not where you want it to be. He also was not super crisp when it comes to putting down those bunkers on the other side of the map. I feel like I had those SCVs on screen for like 5 seconds before they finally started up a bunker or two. I mean, it's not super significant, and I don't think it really changed the outcome of the game that much, but the crispness is really what you're looking for at high-level StarCraft, and Creator has been, yeah, on point in that regard. He's been looking very, very solid. Now, one thing that sometimes goes against Creator a little bit is that he's a very emotional player. So if you've ever seen him lose a game of StarCraft, and there's player cameras on, yeah, he is ready to either throw his chair through his monitor or, you know, to start bawling his eyes out and cry for the remainder of the tournament. Okay, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but there's no denying that Bunny is definitely, or Creator rather, is definitely a very emotional player, and I feel like him winning game number 1 in such a decisive manner against such a cheesy build order is really gonna, yeah, put momentum in his favor here. We'll have to see what sort of strategy he decides to go for. I would not mind seeing him go for something, yeah, once again, like the same strategy already played. Phoenixes or Oracles into Colossi, or just good old Blink Stalkers. I feel like overall, Creator has been very impressive as of late, and just focusing on the basics is not a bad choice. I don't think he really needs to get all too fancy. Alrighty, now Bunny generally doesn't really play that cheesy, so I'm curious to see what he decides to go for here in this particular game as well. It is funny to me, though, how we have Bunny preparing a 2-base Battlecruiser opener against Creator, and then in yesterday's video, I casted from that same round. I casted Classic going up against Dark, and if you haven't seen that match yet, small spoiler alert, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this video. I highly recommend you go ahead and check it out after this video, but in that particular game, it was Classic rushing out for Tempest against Dark. So apparently when you give the highest ranked players in the world some time to prepare for their opponent, what they prepare is cheese. You love to see it. Yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be Cyclones here. I'm still not sold on a new Cyclone. It's one of those units right now that's cool, because it's new and fresh and we haven't really seen it that much. I think overall though, I don't know if it's true, but I feel like overall it's actually a slight nerf. I think the previous version of the Cyclone was a little bit better. I mean, obviously these can come out in bigger numbers and they're cheaper to produce and all that, so it's kind of difficult to say exactly what I feel about the unit, but I feel like overall, in like half a year or so from now, we'll probably look back at the new version of the Cyclone and consider it a bit of a nerf compared to the previous one. I still don't see how it's going to make Terran mech viable, although, well, maybe I'm mistaken. Creator was scouting over here. He did see roughly what the opponent is going for. As we're just driving everything that's available right now towards the other side of the map. That's a dead Stalker. Yep. Can't really outpace that. We do have the Twilight Council coming up together with a Robo facility. 3 gateways here in total. Is he going to be able to complete that recall? He will not. So that's 2 Stalkers right now down the drain. Not a good start right here for our Protoss player whatsoever. Couple of Stalkers just a little bit too adventurous. That shield battery helping out so much. That, SCV actually body blocking that Cyclone that was trying to retreat. Battery overcharged, nice force field. Okay, that's another Cyclone down the drain, and Bunny realizes that the clock is ticking. He did see the Twilight Council, he did see the Robo, so he realizes that this is either gonna be Blink or Charge, I guess, but 9 out of 10 times this should be a Blink follow-up right here from the Protoss, and well, if you decide to overstay your welcome, your army is gonna get destroyed. Raven here on the back of this from Bunny. Interference Matrix as well. I think Interference Matrix is good, especially if the opponent decides to go for some sort of Robo follow-up, but I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna interference matrix in this particular instance. I mean, apparently we're gonna be sending the Raven towards the other side of the map, which kind of means that this is just wasted money. Because we're probably gonna drop an auto turret behind the mineral line or something like that. Anyways, third Nexus coming up right now for Creator, and he is ready to start putting on some pressure on the other side of the map. There is no combat shields or stim pack or +1 infantry weapons or anything researching just yet. That first siege tank in a world of trouble. Lovely pickup right there by Creator. Does not lose any of his stalkers so far, and he should have blink available again here to go to the low ground. Okay, he's waiting for as long as possible. Target fires down the Viking. That was lovely. Raven now ready to go in. But not that great of a follow-up right here from Bunny. He really can't afford it. So the Prism is faking out a push on the main base. Whereas in the meantime, we have the Stalkers going to town over here in the natural expansion. Obviously, Blink is not something that will be available non-stop. Here's that Raven dropping down an auto turret as well on the other side of the map. Putting on quite a bit of pressure. But yeah, that interference matrix does seem like a bit of a waste. Warp in inside of the main base too. So Creator starts microing 2 of these camps all at once, which is much easier said than done. It is very easy to accidentally mess all of this up, and that's what I'm talking about. That Prism, super dead. Still though, we're putting on a lot of damage here. More and more SCVs are falling. Yeah, despite the fact that he is losing a little bit more than he should have, I mean that Prism, if this was like a Max Specs playing or a hero, I don't think that Prism would have gone down. Although obviously those guys also do make mistakes. But this is an overwhelming amount of damage right now that Creator is doing, and this is really only like the first phase of the attacks. Yeah, this is mostly just to put on a little bit of pressure, and ultimately, we see 8 SCVs going down, 2 siege tanks, 14 Marines. There is now an oversaturation over here on this base. More and more workers, by the way, are falling, and we're gonna recall the remainder of those Stalkers out of there. Other than that Warp Prism losing its life, I think that was a really well-played game. Are we not done? Are we just gonna double down on this? Okay. Well, anyways, the next phase of this attack is gonna be High Templar together with charge slots. Definitely something that can deal a lot of damage, but apparently we're just gonna continue with the Stalkers. Okay, that's another siege tank down the drain. This one does come at the cost of a couple of the Stalkers as well, but those siege tanks are very precious units. And this isn't even his final form. Creator's like an anime character. He's powering up right now, dude. I think he's just, I think Bunny's just being overwhelmed right here by Stalkers. Like, yeah, there's really no way he's gonna be able to get much mining done over here at the third. And he does have the orbital command done, so at the very least he can land a lot of mules, which will give him a lot of income, but properly controlled Stalkers are so dangerous. In the meantime, 4th Nexus coming up at the bottom of the map. Ooh, this command center is dead. Yep, that's a dead command center. Really no way to save that one. Lovely control here by Creator, though. I mean, the Prism is also not that expensive of a unit, right? So, as long as you continue the harassment at a reasonable pace, losing the Prism is not the end of the world, but I wonder if maybe he could have already won the game if that Prism did not go down. He still finds himself now with an overwhelming lead. 30 worker advantage, supply blocks here as well, left, right, and center for Bunny. You can already see a couple of those depots here growing little supply depot hats on top of themselves. Because, well, there's really no way for him to be able to produce without it. Are we gonna pull the boys? Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's the only choice we really have. It's now effectively a 2-base all-in. Colossus is coming up. I think this 4th Nexus should be given up on. We have Storm. There's 5 High Templar available. Bunny has no idea that Psionic Storm is available. Alright, well, those Ravens are nice, I guess, but it's the Storm that I am mostly concerned of. Okay, not a bad one to start with. We're gonna mostly just use this location here to warp in reinforcements. I don't think the Colossus is gonna be as helpful. But it's still nice, especially if the Ravens end up going down. I mean, this is just too much Protoss. Lovely work here from Creator. The siege tanks are still putting in a ton of work, but imagine this exact same push with like 3 more tanks. If Creator did not target those down on the other side of the map like he did with his Stalkers, this still would have been a very scary attack here from Bunny. But ultimately, impressive feat right here from Creator. He ends up winning over Bunny 2-1.